I used to believe that cutting back on certain groceries was just part of being smart with money, especially when you're on a fixed income. After all, fruits, especially berries, can be pricey, and I thought, maybe they're just a sweet treat I can skip. That's how I felt at 70 until I started noticing little things that worried me. Misplacing my keys more frequently, forgetting the names of neighbors I'd known for years, and losing focus midway through doing simple tasks. At first, I brushed these memory lapses off as normal, something that just happens when you get older. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that I might be setting myself up for bigger problems down the road if I kept ignoring these warning signs. One day I came across a conversation that completely changed my perspective. I was chatting with a friend who's a retired dietitian, and she mentioned that she'd started prioritizing berries in her meals after 65 because of the powerful nutrients they contain. She didn't claim they were a miracle cure or anything like that, but she did emphasize how berries can support cognitive function in ways that most of us underestimate, especially those of us past retirement age. She told me about several emerging studies, and even some older ones, showing that the antioxidants and other compounds in berries might help keep the brain sharper. It piqued my curiosity enough to give them another shot. It wasn't just the scientific research that caught my attention. It was also the personal stories she shared. Folks in their 70s and 80s who noticed steadier mood, better recall of past events, and more engagement in their daily activities. That was the moment it clicked for me. I realized if something so simple as adding more berries to my everyday diet could potentially help me stay mentally alert, it was worth investigating. Sure, they can be more expensive, but the idea of preserving my mental sharpness was more compelling than saving a few dollars. After all, there's a cost to losing your memory or struggling to remain independent. The difference is, you can't put a price tag on that. Addressing brain health really does matter, especially for those of us in our mid-60s, 70s, and beyond. Our brains work tirelessly for decades, and as we age, they deserve every bit of gentle care we can provide. You might think of joint pain or slower mobility as typical age-related concerns, but memory lapses and fuzzy thinking can be just as limiting to our quality of life. It's one thing to have trouble bending down to tie your shoes. It's another to find yourself forgetting the reason you walked into a room or missing out on the precious moments with friends and family because your mind is elsewhere. I'd like to share 5 powerful brain benefits of berries that you might not have considered before. And by the end, I hope you'll feel that sense of possibility and realize that maintaining a healthy, active mind after 65 isn't just for the lucky few. It's something we can all work toward, step by step, one bowl of berries at a time. Throughout these insights, you'll also discover that small, affordable tweaks, like choosing frozen berries or working them into simpler meals, can make this change accessible to nearly everyone. No grand gestures or expensive programs required. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm certainly not promising that eating berries will suddenly cure memory loss or prevent all forms of cognitive decline. If you have specific medical conditions or concerns about how your diet might interact with any medications, please talk to your healthcare provider. But as someone who's navigated these waters personally, I'm excited to pass along practical suggestions and a different way of thinking about nutrition and brain health in our golden years. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to reflect on your own habits. Have you ever steered clear of something that could benefit your health because it seemed too pricey or too complicated? If so, stick around. You might change your mind like I did. It's time to explore the top 5 brain benefits that made me stop skimping on berries, and how these can translate into a more alert, engaged, and fulfilling life at any age. Stick with me as we delve into specific examples, common misconceptions, and the simple strategies that can help you put these benefits into action right away. By the end, my hope is that you'll see berries not as a luxury item, but as a key part of a brain-boosting plan that could help you enjoy life to the fullest, one delicious bite at a time. I used to think memory lapses were simply part of getting older. It turns out there's a lot more we can do to stay on top of our game than most folks realize. You might be surprised to learn that many older adults still believe that brain decline is inevitable and irreversible. Take Mildred, who's 77, for example. She told me over coffee that she found herself increasingly frustrated by word-finding difficulties. She'd be in the middle of a story, only to stumble and forget a key word. Her conclusion was, "This is just how it is now." But she also admitted she felt a deep fear that this was only the beginning of more serious issues down the line. What changed for her wasn't a fancy supplement or memory workshop, though both of those can be helpful. It was when she started researching the role of antioxidants in supporting cognitive performance. Berries, especially blueberries, are chock full of these antioxidants, called anthocyanins, that may protect the brain from oxidative stress. Mildred decided she'd add a handful of blueberries to her oatmeal every morning, not expecting anything dramatic. Within a few weeks, she felt a subtle but significant improvement in her word recall during conversations. While her memory wasn't perfect, none of ours are, she no longer felt that sinking feeling she used to whenever she forgot a word. It's easy to assume small changes in diet won't shift how our brains function, yet nutritional science is revealing that certain foods can influence how well our neurons communicate. Berries, with their vibrant colors, indicate the presence of unique compounds that go beyond simple vitamins and minerals. They offer specialized phytonutrients that may bolster the parts of our brain responsible for retrieving memories. Of course, we can't rely on berries alone to keep us sharp, but they form a valuable piece of the puzzle. If you're wondering how to apply this in your daily routine, start small. Pick one type of berry that you enjoy, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, and incorporate them into your favorite breakfast or snack. Look for deals or buy them in season, then freeze them yourself to use later. Or consider buying store-brand frozen berries, which often cost less and have comparable nutritional value to fresh varieties. The key is consistency. Having half a cup or a handful every day or every other day can accumulate benefits over time. Imagine not having to pause mid-sentence, scrambling for the right word. Sure, occasional slip-ups happen. No one is suggesting we'll turn into flawless memory machines, but the real value is in the confidence we gain back. That sense of self-assuredness can make social gatherings more enjoyable, since we're less worried about forgetting names or mixing up facts. Engaging with people becomes a bit more spontaneous, and that in turn feeds into a social and emotional boost, because staying mentally clear helps us stay more connected. Now, before we move on, take a moment to consider, what memory challenges have you noticed lately? Do you catch yourself frequently searching for names or common phrases? Could a small, consistent dietary shift like adding berries help you address these challenges without a lot of added expense or effort? It's worth thinking about, and it might just lead you to a simple habit that yields surprising results. Once I realized the potential link between berries and memory support, I wanted to know if there was more to the story. That's when I discovered something equally important: mood and emotional well-being. A lot of older adults might not connect diet with day-to-day mood. We might chalk up feeling blue to natural shifts in hormones, sleep changes, or the general life adjustments that come with aging. Frank is a 72-year-old friend who told me he'd been feeling a persistent sense of low energy and irritability. He attributed it to retirement woes, missing the camaraderie of his work buddies and the routine that gave structure to his day. Yet Frank's daughter, a nurse, encouraged him to pay attention to the nutritional aspect of his daily life. Frank initially doubted that adding something as simple as a bowl of mixed berries could have any real bearing on his mood. But he had nothing to lose, so he tried it. He started pairing berries with Greek yogurt each morning, something he'd rarely eaten before. Within a few weeks, he noticed not only a slight uptick in his energy, but also an improved sense of calm that made him more patient and less prone to snap at minor annoyances. He was amazed at how this simple change seemed to complement other lifestyle adjustments, like taking a short walk after breakfast and spending more time on hobbies he enjoyed. It might surprise you, but there's emerging evidence suggesting that the same antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties in berries that support our brains can also contribute to a more balanced mood. Chronic inflammation is increasingly being linked to not just physical conditions like arthritis, but also mental well-being. Berries, with their anti-inflammatory compounds, could subtly reduce the overall inflammatory load in the body, leading to benefits that extend beyond just memory. If you want to harness this benefit for yourself, consider adding berries to a calming evening routine. Swap out dessert cookies for a small dish of dark-colored berries with a drizzle of honey or a sprinkle of chopped nuts. Or try making a simple berry smoothie in the afternoon if you're feeling that typical slump. Of course, mood is complex and can be influenced by multiple factors, from chronic pain to loneliness to sleep patterns. But improving the quality of the foods we eat is often easier than we think, especially when it involves a sweet, colorful addition. What's especially promising is how these improvements in mood can circle back and further support cognitive health. When you feel less stressed or less irritable, you're likely to sleep better, engage in more social activities, and maintain a healthier routine. All of these factors play a role in sustaining a sharp mind as we age. It's like a domino effect. Take one positive step, and other areas of health start to benefit. Here's something to reflect on. Do you notice fluctuations in your mood that seem tied to certain times of day or certain habits? Could you replace or modify one habit with a berry-based snack or dessert? Maybe skip the sugar-laden pastry and try a fruit salad with mixed berries instead. Small shifts can mean the difference between dragging through the afternoon and feeling a pleasant mental lift. This is not about perfection, but about gradually shaping our environment and choices to better support our emotional resilience, something incredibly valuable at any stage of life. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Have you ever underestimated the role that certain foods could play in your emotional well-being? If you're open to experimenting, why not give berries a shot for a few weeks and see if you notice any change? These are gentle steps that can complement any existing strategies you might have for managing mood, from meditation to regular check-ins with a mental health professional. Now that we've covered memory and mood, let's go deeper into another aspect of brain function that affects how we process information: mental clarity and focus. Sometimes people assume that focus is only important for younger folks in the workforce or for students. But clarity of thought matters for everyone, especially those of us who want to remain active in our communities, continue learning new things, or even tackle new hobbies in our retirement years. At 68, Jenny decided to fulfill her lifelong dream of learning to play the piano. She quickly realized that picking up a new skill later in life requires real concentration. She'd get frustrated when she found her mind drifting or losing track of what notes she needed to hit next. Jenny had heard that certain foods can provide steady energy to the brain, helping maintain concentration. She also knew that blood sugar levels can greatly affect our ability to stay focused. Berries with their natural sugars are less likely to cause a rapid spike and crash compared to refined sweets. And the fiber in berries helps slow down sugar absorption. She started enjoying a small dish of berries before her practice sessions. She wouldn't describe the effect as night and day, but over time she felt more consistent in her ability to stick with her lessons and remember new chord progressions. This reflects a broader principle. The body and mind are an interconnected system, and fueling one helps the other. So many of us are on multiple medications, or we have conditions like type 2 diabetes, where balancing blood sugar is critical. Berries can be a good option because they offer sweetness without wreaking havoc on glucose levels. Of course, if you're concerned about sugar intake or have specific dietary restrictions, you'll want to talk to your doctor about the best way to incorporate berries. In many cases, they can be a safer treat compared to pastries or candy bars. Focus is not just about tackling new hobbies. It's about staying present in conversations, fully engaging with loved ones, and avoiding the scatterbrain feeling that can worsen with stress or lack of proper nutrition. By choosing nutrient-dense foods, we're giving our brains and bodies the building blocks they need to function at a higher level. That might mean you're more alert when balancing your checkbook or paying bills, less likely to get flustered if you have to follow a new series of medical instructions, or more adept at planning a family get-together without forgetting key details. To make it practical, try pairing berries with a protein source if you're concerned about maintaining steady energy. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or even a small handful of nuts can balance the fruit's sugars and keep you feeling satiated. This can be a quick mid-afternoon pick-me-up or a snack before you head out for a community event. It's about choosing convenience without sacrificing nutrition. As you think about your own daily focus, is there a specific time of day, maybe mid-morning or late afternoon, when your concentration tends to fade? That might be the perfect window to add a simple berry snack. It's often the little details, like staying consistently focused, that help us feel independent and competent, hallmarks of healthy aging. I'd love to hear if you've tried any dietary shifts to manage focus. Feel free to share your experiences with friends or family who might also be looking for that extra boost in their daily routines. One aspect we don't talk about enough is how our diet can contribute to resilience over the long haul, especially regarding conditions like mild cognitive impairment. When people hear resilience, they might think it's a personality trait, something you're either born with or not. But physical resilience, including how well we maintain our cognitive functions, can often be nurtured with the right habits. Peter, who's 75, told me about his mom's struggles with dementia. That family history made him worried about his own long-term brain health. He spent years assuming that if you're genetically predisposed to something, there's not much you can do to change the outcome. That misconception kept him from taking proactive steps until he read about the concept of modifiable risk factors, which include lifestyle and nutrition. Eating antioxidant-rich foods like berries can't guarantee he'll avoid cognitive issues entirely, but it can be part of a multi-pronged strategy alongside exercise, adequate sleep, and social engagement to build a stronger foundation for brain health. There's an emerging viewpoint in medical circles. While genetics load the gun, lifestyle often pulls the trigger. In other words, our day-to-day choices might influence whether those genetic tendencies turn into actual health problems. Berries, in combination with other healthy foods, such as leafy greens, nuts, whole grains, and lean proteins, could create an internal environment that's less conducive to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are tied to cognitive decline. This doesn't mean you'll never experience memory issues, but it does suggest you might delay or reduce the severity of those issues. It's not just about warding off future health complications, though. The sense of control you get from actively supporting your own cognitive well-being is empowering. Peter described it as worrying less about what might happen tomorrow and focusing more on living fully today. That change in mindset, less fear, more action, can relieve a lot of the mental burden many seniors carry when they see their peers or older family members struggling with advanced cognitive decline. If the cost of berries is what's holding you back, you can mitigate that by shopping smart. Many chain grocery stores offer discounts on fresh berries when they're in season, or you can opt for the large bags of frozen berries that are often priced reasonably at warehouse or discount supermarkets. Some seniors I know even get together with neighbors for bulk purchases, splitting big bags so they each get a share without the freezer overflow. Of course, building cognitive resilience is about more than just diet. Exercise, whether it's a gentle walk or a senior-friendly aerobics class, also plays a major role. Socializing, doing puzzles or crosswords, and finding purposeful activities like volunteering can all weave together to strengthen mental fortitude. Berries are simply one piece of the puzzle, but an appealing, tasty piece that most of us can incorporate without much fuss. Think of it this way. You're investing in your cognitive savings account. Every day you add a little more by choosing foods that nourish your brain, staying physically active, and maintaining strong social bonds. Over time, that investment can pay dividends in the form of better clarity, stronger memory, and greater overall resilience to the challenges that inevitably come with aging. Have you given thought to any family history that worries you? It might be blood pressure, heart disease, or forms of dementia. While you can't change your genes, you might be able to influence how those genes express themselves. Adding a simple handful of berries to your daily or weekly routine could be a small but significant step in that direction. Finally, I learned that once you start seeing small improvements in memory, mood, or focus, you become more open to additional healthy changes, creating a virtuous cycle that supports overall well-being. This final benefit might be overlooked, but it's powerful. Momentum. Sometimes we struggle to adopt new habits because they require effort and discipline. But if one change yields visible or tangible benefits, we feel encouraged to keep going. Evelyn, age 73, began adding strawberries to her morning cereal as an easy way to consume more antioxidants. After a couple of months, she noticed she had a bit more pep in her step throughout the day. That slight improvement gave her the push to also consider a short daily walk. Seeing a small win in her diet encouraged her to take further action with exercise. Then, with both a healthier diet and regular walks in place, she found she was sleeping better. Better sleep led to an even brighter mood and increased motivation to plan social outings, which further reinforced her daily walk routine. Each success built upon the last. This domino effect can reshape how we view aging. Instead of seeing our later years as a time of decline, we can approach each day as an opportunity to discover what works best for our changing bodies and minds. Incorporating berries could be the gateway to a whole series of positive shifts, whether it's adding more vegetables to your lunch, cutting back on high-sugar desserts, or finding gentle exercise that suits your comfort level. If you're looking for actionable ways to harness this momentum, here are a few ideas. Set a small, measurable goal, such as, I'll add a half cup of mixed berries to my diet at least 5 days a week. Track how you feel in a little notebook or a journal app. Look for signs of improved focus, energy, or just an overall sense of well-being. If you notice even a slight positive trend, build on that by adding another small goal like walk for 15 minutes each morning or practice a new hobby twice a week. Over time, these steps can accumulate, and you may find yourself feeling years younger, not just in body but in spirit. One critical piece of advice: if you're on multiple medications or have conditions like kidney issues, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before making any big dietary changes. Berries are generally safe, but it's always wise to consider potential interactions or contraindications. Most of the time, doctors are supportive of increasing fruit intake, especially antioxidant-rich ones, as long as it's done in moderation and aligned with your specific health needs. Here's something to think about. Can you recall a time when a small positive change in your routine led to a ripple effect in other areas of your life? Maybe you started tidying the house for just 10 minutes a day, and soon you found yourself organizing entire closets. Or you decided to call one friend a week and it reignited your social circle. The same principle applies to brain health and nutrition. Momentum is a powerful force at any age. Take a second to imagine what your life could look like a year from now if you adopt a few of these changes. A year passes quickly, but a lot can happen when you commit to consistent, incremental improvements. Maybe you'll discover a renewed sense of independence or confidence. Maybe you'll become a role model for friends who are also looking to age more gracefully. And maybe you'll simply feel proud of yourself for taking your well-being into your own hands. That's a reward that never gets old. When I realized that adding berries back into my grocery list wasn't just about having a sweet snack, but rather a meaningful step toward a healthier, more vibrant life, I stopped hesitating. Now I can't imagine my routine without them. Not only do they add color to my plate, they give me a sense of empowerment about my future, whatever it holds. We've journeyed through 5 important ways berries can support brain health after 65, helping with memory recall, lifting mood, enhancing focus, contributing to long-term cognitive resilience, and jump-starting a cycle of healthier habits. None of these benefits rely on the idea that berries are some magical cure-all. Instead, they demonstrate how a single simple change can become a catalyst for better overall well-being. But don't just listen to me. These are areas where you can experiment safely and see what happens. If berries aren't your thing, that's okay. There are other antioxidant-rich foods out there. The main point is recognizing that what you eat can significantly shape how you feel, think, and even view your golden years. If you're feeling a sense of urgency, that's good. It means you understand that each day we wait is another day we could potentially be doing something proactive for our health. However, I'm not here to scare anyone or suggest that if you don't eat berries, you'll lose your memory by next week. Instead, I want to highlight that you have more influence over your health trajectory than you might think, even if your mobility is limited or you have other age-related concerns. Imagine yourself gradually incorporating these changes. Perhaps you begin by adding fresh or frozen berries to your breakfast or afternoon snack. Next, you might notice a small boost in your mood or clarity. That mini victory might encourage you to keep going, nudging you to try more exercises, maybe a brief walk in the sunshine, or a gentle stretching routine. Over time, you'll likely see how these positive habits interconnect, supporting each other and creating a stronger, healthier you. If you're ready to take action today, here are a few steps you can choose from, based on what fits your comfort level. Go for the easy start. Pick one type of berry, blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, or blackberry, and incorporate it into one meal or snack each day for a week. If you're more committed, plan a shopping list to include enough berries for the week and track how you feel each day in a small journal. Pay attention to memory lapses, mood swings, or fatigue. Ready to level up? Combine your new berry habit with 15 minutes of light exercise in the morning or afternoon. Track any changes in your energy levels or mental focus. Want to spread the word? Invite a friend or family member to join you in this berry challenge. Share your experiences together, compare notes, and cheer each other on. One more idea is to find recipes that make it fun. You don't have to eat raw berries if that doesn't appeal to you. Blend them into smoothies, bake them into oatmeal cups, or toss them into a colorful salad. This not only adds variety, but also keeps your taste buds engaged, preventing the boredom that sometimes derails healthier eating efforts. However you choose to proceed, remember that your voice matters. If you find success with adding berries, mention it to friends or in your community groups. And if you're comfortable, talk to your healthcare provider about any changes you're making. They might have additional suggestions tailored to your unique situation. Know that aging doesn't mean surrendering our ability to shape our own lives. Every small choice adds up, and something as seemingly trivial as opting for a handful of berries can lead to noticeable improvements. I hope this conversation has sparked a sense of excitement and a realization that you're not alone in wanting to preserve your independence, mental sharpness, and zest for life. You've got what it takes to make mindful changes, one step at a time. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I trust that the knowledge you've gained here will guide you toward a more vibrant, engaged life where you remain as mentally sharp as possible for years to come. After all, each of us deserves a future that's bright, flavorful, and full of possibility, just like a bowl of fresh, ripe berries.